see you. Good to see you. Back in the saddle. Yeah. What is it? Good to see you. How you doing?
Good evening. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a very, very special certificate of acknowledgement this evening. We have a young lady who happens to be the daughter of Councilwoman Catherine Sapp, India Sapp, who I've known since she was a little girl. And this is a very, very special acknowledgement because it was a life-saving incident. But over and above that, I mean, under any circumstance, this is extraordinary. But I think it's particularly extraordinary because India is in high school. She's a senior in high school, and I don't know that she would have the courage, that many adults would have the courage that India displayed. So it is my distinct honor, along with council, to present this certificate of acknowledgement to India. India, will you please come up? On behalf of the municipality of Penn Hills. I'm so sorry, I thought she was right behind me. On behalf of the municipality of Penn Hills, I present this certificate of acknowledgement. This recognition is presented to Penn Hills resident, India Sapp, for her life-saving reaction in responding to a medical emergency. Using training that she gained as an emergency medical student at Yale University, India Sapp rendered aid and stabilized the patient until paramedics arrived. God bless you. You want to come up front here? You want to get a picture up there, Kath? Let your mom up here.
Congratulations, India.
One more announcement. The Mayor and Council held an executive session on Tuesday, August 9th, pursuant to the Sunshine Act to discuss labor relations matters.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Calabrese,
Present.
Councilor Fascio,
Present.
Councilman Brodnicki,
Here.
Councilwoman Sapp,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Pecora.
May I get a motion for the approval of the minutes for July 19th, 2022, and July 25th, 2022?
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve minutes of July 19th, 2022, and July 25th of 2022.
Thank you. May I get a second?
A second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Brodnicki,
I abstained on July 19th, but yes on July 25th because I wasn't here on the 19th.
that'll be I'll note that in the minutes. Councilwoman Sapp,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese.
Yes.
Okay, minutes approved.
Thank you. May I get a motion for the ratification of the expenditures?
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to ratify expenditures totaling $2,218,600.63.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any public comment? Any comment from council? Roll call.
Councilman Brodnicki,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sapp,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
Councilor Fascio.
Yes.
Expenditures approved. Next on the agenda are residents that signed up at least a week in advance to address council on non-agenda items. Your name will be called in the order that you signed up. If Adela Dixon is in the audience, please come forward to the podium. And if you could please be mindful that we do have a 3-minute rule in effect. And please, if you also could state your name and your address clearly for the record. Thank you.
My name is Adela Dixon. My address is 89 Frankwood Road, Penn Hills, 15235. I don't regularly come. I want to say congratulations, India. I'm very proud of you. It's not always that we recognize the good things that people do, and I want to say thank you. I also wanted to come and talk about the area that I live in the Frankwood area. I was looking down at my phone because I've been taking pictures and regularly coming up to code enforcement complaining about the area. And I went back all the way to 2014, and it's 2022. And the area has gone down considerably. So my complaint is that I continuously come and complain to code enforcement, and nothing is being done. And the property value, I would think, is going down in the area. My request is to ask for what is the protocol for vacant homes to be torn down, as well as the grass to be cut, and for owners who are supposedly fixing up their homes and using it where they just park cars and everything in the area. It's just doesn't benefit me, it benefits all of Penn Hills. And I just think that it's just horrible how the community is just going straight downhill. So that is my complaint, that I come up here and say that while I'm complaining, and I don't come regularly, I said that I made a note that I will be up here the third Monday every month to voice my complaint, so until something is finally done. Thank you.
Thank you. We will be checking in with code on that.
Ms. Dixon, Mayor,
Yes,
yeah, I'd like to address Ms. Dixon.
sure.
Ms. Dixon, I'd like to say thank you so much for coming up to make mayor and council aware of these things, because it's not always that we are able to ride around to every neighborhood within our municipality. So it's residents like yourself that we depend on to come and give us this information so things can be taken care of. So I thank you so much, because you're right. It doesn't just affect your neighborhood, it affects our entire municipality. So thank you.
And we typically don't have a back and forth at this point in time, but it is, under any circumstance, it's really egregious. But to hear that this has been going on since 2014, I think I speak for everyone on council. We will be looking into that and find what's going on with that. Thank you.
Is Mr. Hendershot here this evening? Okay, he is not. I think he actually called Friday and said that he may not be able to make it, so.
Excuse me, Manager. Mayor, you don't typically take back and forth on this, but I would like to comment about the Pride Road neighborhood, if I can.
Sure, that would be fine.
I spoke with, in seeing Mrs. Dixon's letter.
I'm so sorry. Could you speak closer? Or
Yeah, in seeing Mrs. Dixon's letter, I spoke with I spoke with code enforcement today, and I realized that Mrs. Dixon, she has made many complaints about properties in the area. However, I want to make it clear that it doesn't mean that nothing's being done. There's been violations, there's been condemnations. One of the 89 Frankwood went to court and was assessed a $4,000 fine. There are cases where, regardless of how much pressure code enforcement puts on property owners, they continue to violate the ordinances. So it's not to say that her complaints aren't unfounded or that she shouldn't come back. I hope that when she said that she would come back on the 3rd at the next meeting, I'm thinking that's good, because I think maybe we'll hear some progress. But I think that recently code enforcement has been stepping up. We've got new code enforcement officers. They've been diligently stepping up pressure on those streets where Ms. Dixon has filed the complaints. But I just wanted to point out, I could go through a whole list of which ones have an occupancy permit on file that they're purchasing the property and they're renovating it, which ones have cars towed, things like that. But I just want to say that there is pressure being put on the neighborhood. Thank you.
Item number 7 on the agenda is for appointments. This is for the appointment of, may I get a motion for item number 7?
Mayor, I'd like to make the motion.
Thank you.
I make the motion that we that we approve the appointments for item 7A to reappoint Betty Arndt, Jill, forgive me for mispronouncing your name. Daly, Lori.
Full wire.
Lori whom?
Full wire.
Okay. To the Penn Hills Shade Tree Commission for 1-year term ending August 14, 2023.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any public comment? Any comment from council?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to say I really appreciate the Shade Tree Commission and all that you do. You do work very hard to embellish our municipality. I look at all the trees that you plant all over the different parts of our municipality, and it really does beautify our municipality. So thank you so much. I realize that you are taking your time out of your busy schedule to go out and plant these trees and make sure that they are pruned and that our municipality looks beautiful. So thank you to the Shade Tree Commission.
Any further comment from council? We don't, as residents, often we don't see what a commission does, but I can tell you, first of all, we would be here a long time if I read each of their resumes, but let me just point out that Betty Arndt, we are so, we're in such a unique position to have these women as members of the Shade Tree Commission. Betty Arndt is a retired senior vice president and chief operating officer at the Heinz History Center. Jill Daly is a past, she was a reporter for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Lori Fulwire has been and still is at the University of Pittsburgh. She's head of the biology greenhouse. These are not just, these are really, really high caliber individuals who are really making huge strides for us. And I can tell you that I personally, until I met them, I thought trees just grew. I thought that's where a tree was supposed to go, and that's where it grew. There's so much more than just having a pretty area. There's a whole list of things, and we've already identified this many times, but Penn Hills has been designated a Tree City USA. I hope I say this correctly, but as far as I know, the only other ones in this region are Forest Hills, Oakmont, and Mount Lebanon. So that's pretty awesome company to be with. And, they do more than just plant. It takes a lot of planning, designing, a lot of effort goes into this. They get funding. So if next time you drive down Allegheny River Boulevard, or you go to the park, or you're working on Rodi Road right now, it's really massive. It's not just something pretty. It changes neighborhoods and it changes communities. Studies have shown that where trees are planted, there's less crime, there's less traffic violations, traffic is slower, it's calmer, businesses are more likely to come into a community, people are more likely to spend more time and spend more money there. So it is truly our privilege and honor to have you on our Shade Tree Commission. And thank you so much, and thank you for once again having us designated as a Tree City USA. Thank you. Roll call.
Councilwoman Sapp,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese,
Absolutely yes.
Councilor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Brodnicki.
Yes.
7A approved.
May I get a motion for items 8A?
Mayor Calabrese?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2022-46, approving the acquisition of and subsequent disposition of parcel 230-H-333, located at 7962 Thon Drive, in accordance with the Allegheny County Vacant Property Recovery Program.
Thank you. May I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any comment from the public? Any comment from council? Roll call, please.
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
Councilor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Brodnicki,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sapp.
Yes.
Item 8A approved.
Thank you. May I get a motion for item 8B?
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve Resolution 2022-47, approving the acquisition and subsequent disposition of parcel 230-G-51 located on Thon Drive in accordance with Allegheny County Vacant Property Recovery Program.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comment from the public?
Could you please come to the podium?
Good evening. I'm Marcia Soares. I just had a question. What is the disposition on the parcels that we're speaking of?
This is part of a program that we work with Allegheny County's Redevelopment Authority. So these are coming here now because residents applied to basically acquire vacant properties. So they pay certain fees to Allegheny County, and those fees are for the advertising and to get clean title. So these are generally properties that either the neighbor is acquiring, they were vacant, maybe the next property next to them. That's what these are. Is that correct, Mr. Blackwell?
Yes. Hi, Marcia.
Hi.
That is correct. These are properties that oftentimes it's a side yard, it's a vacant lot next to you, it's tax delinquent. It has to be 3 years tax delinquent. And typically it's a side yard, and these are folks that they're applying to purchase the property. And the reason it goes through this process, it's to make sure that it is part of the allowed in the Penn Hills Comprehensive Plan, and that also that because in this process, Penn Hills is giving up those taxes there with the knowledge that it's going to go back on the tax rolls and it's going to benefit the community. You're going to have new owners. But it is a taking. The Allegheny County is going to go to court and take the property from somebody that owns it. So this is the best process to go through to have those properties be able to be sold to this residents. And so I think it's a good thing.
Thank you, sir.
I also want to just say, we go through so many of these every month, and I actually asked the county if there was a way to expedite this a little bit, and they really say that they need a resolution for each one. But I would assume that we could do a group maybe sometime, but it's up to you, Mayor.
Or you could just approve them all in one motion, too.
Right.
Well, there's been
Okay, so right now, there has been a motion made in second. Shall I change that? And
Let's vote on that one and just do it the next one.
okay. Any further public comment? Any comment from council? Roll call.
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
Councilor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Brodnicki,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sapp.
Yes.
8B approved.
So if you wanted to, Mayor, you could request a motion to approve resolutions 2022-47 through 2022-51.
I think
No,
it's
they're
only going to be
different.
C and D.
There's only
See
one
the-
more. I'm
They're
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's just,
I see it,
In the future.
in the
Yeah.
future.
okay. May I get a motion for item 8C?
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve Resolution 2022-48, approving the acquisition and subsequent disposition of parcel 369-P-306 located at 708 Beulah Road in accordance with the Allegheny County Vacant Property Recovery Program.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comment from the public? Any comment from council? Roll call, please.
Councilor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Brodnicki,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sapp,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese.
Yes.
Item 8C approved.
May I get a motion for item 8D?
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve Resolution 2022-49, approving an amendment to the fiscal year 2019 Community Development Block Grant Action Plan, Year 45.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comment from the public? Any comment from council? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Sapp,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese.
Yes.
Councilor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Brodnicki.
Yes.
Item 8E approved.
Thank you. May I get a motion for item 8E?
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2022-50, authorizing the municipality of Penn Hills to provide maintenance, liability, and general stewardship for the shade trees planted by the commission on Rodi Road.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comment from the public?
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Greg Swatchik, 648 Gramick Lane. As I stated before, we can't use these screens, according to Meg, for public use. It's for the municipal government. So I prepared a handout that I'd like to just send down for you to refer to. The top side, if you kept it, if you kept it as I handed it to you, has two big white arrows on it. And this is relevant to where our municipal boundary line crosses Rodi Road. The one arrow says Penn Hills boundary per GD 957661. That was the boundary dispute resolution with Penn Hills. The other one was where the misunderstood boundary was, according to Penn Hills, prior to that resolution. If you notice, the mayor, Your Honor, the manager said last meeting, and I didn't come up during the minutes, but it excluded the fact that he made a statement when I pointed this discrepancy of the colored zoning versus where the line is now, that it's misleading to the public at best. And he indicated that he would look into it. I don't know the status of that. He didn't report to me, and I'm not asking for a comment tonight. But it's just to better illustrate what I was referring to for the benefit of counsel, who he does report to. If you flip it over, you will see a blown-up version of where the line crosses Rodi Road. And Chris Blackwell, I believe, is in disagreement with me. If you look at the white arrow that says bearing and location per that same case, that is the ascertain and establish the disputed line set in 1850. At one time, all this land was Wilkins, and they came in and put one line to create Penn Hills. We were born in 1850. So there was only Penn Hills and Wilkins on the earth there. Then Churchill came in 1934, and then everything toward the west was jockeyed up and down to accommodate the metes and bounds of Churchill. So my contention is that the bearing location that I've indicated with the white arrow came first and should continue to traverse across Rodi Road, which would put the majority of the old gas station property where we were talked about, put a sign in meetings
Mr.
before.
Swachik, the 3 minutes is now up.
Okay.
So thank you for your comments. I am going to get back to you with the question that you
I
did have.
appreciate it. If I could just have one more sentence, Your Honor.
Sure. Why don't you just finish the sentence you were saying?
Okay. Relative to this ordinance, you were very particular in language, and you know that once the words are put on the paper, that it's up for interpretation, ambiguity's bad, and it just causes problems. So I think you might want to consider tabling this and enhancing the verbiage a bit for a variety of reasons here, but my 3 minutes are up.
Okay,
And,
thank you.
yeah, basically, it's private property, and I would expect that any and all things that
Greg,
are ever
I'm
done would be
sorry.
with concurrence of the property owner. The way this is
Okay,
written,
please.
they can come in and government wins.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any further comment from the public? Any comment from council?
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd just like to ask a question. I'm not sure who I'm going to direct this to, but how problematic would it be for us to approve this resolution, even if we were to change some of the boundaries later, because all it's stating is that we are going to assume the liability, correct?
Good point.
Okay.
Any further comment from council? Roll call.
Councilman Brodnicki,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sapp,
Yes.
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
Councilor Fascio.
Yes.
Okay, item approved.
May I get a motion for item 8F?
Mayor Calabrese?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve Resolution 2022-51, approving the change order with the JP Environmental in the amount of $162,000.
Thank you. May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comment from the public? Any comment from council?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes.
Just want to ask if we can just elaborate a little bit and maybe give a little clarification on the change
Sure,
order.
sure. I'm going to defer to our engineer, but this is one of those good change orders that we sometimes see. But if you could just shed a little light, Mr. Minsterman.
Yes, I'll have to shed a little more than a little to give you some background to understand. It's, this situation is related to valves at the Plum Creek pump station. And so there are 3 pumps at the pump station, very large pumps. And when we have rain events, it goes into the equalization tank. And so there's pumps that control water going to the treatment plant. If that water goes directly to the plant, it will flood the plant and cause a violation. So you've approved the replacement of the 3 pumps, and that was money, stimulus money, tremendous acquisition of those materials. We were able to piggyback the second 2 pumps on the first pump contract. We had a great price, we had a great contractor, and you had the funds. And so that work was done, and while that work was being done, there are valves in front of and behind each pump. And you close those valves to isolate the pumps and pull them and remove them. So the 3rd pump has not been able to be installed because it can't be isolated from the flows. So that's a big deal because you have to have 3 pumps to operate that pump station. That's what the permit says, and that's what you've had. The one of the pumps is broken inside and it needs replaced. I'm sorry, not pumps, the valve to isolate the pump. Now these valves are $35,000 plus each. They're very large and expensive materials. So this change order is to replace all 3 of the valves, as well as one of the issues, it's going to take a week or 2 to do this work, and so all the flow to the pump station has to be bypassed. Now that's a very large pump in itself. There has to be contingency plans in case it rains, because we can't afford to flood the treatment plant. So they'll have to bring on storage facilities and whatever it takes if it rains during this operation. So it's a significant operation. It's one that you don't do very often, and it will allow for the pumps to be removed and operated and maintained so we can extend their life without just letting them operate. So sorry for the long explanation, but it is desperately needed as it relates to the pump station operation, the safe and legal operation of that pump station. So that's what I have.
Thank you so much.
So I have a question then. So that 162, so it's like 105 for the valves, right?
Yes.
For those 3, and then that other 57,000 will be to do the work to bypass?
There's bypassing. There is the installation of the bypass valving is set up. There's also removal and replacement of the 3 gate valves. That's the labor to do the work. It's going to take 2 weeks. So like I said, a week to 2, that's a significant amount of labor. They're going to have to pump out the wet well and clean it to allow access to remove the suction side of the valves. So that's another part of the cost. And then all the bypass pumping is going to have to be removed, and the pump needs to be started up, and the valves need to be exercised once they're installed. So there's a significant amount of work. The contractor has provided a detailed scope of work and a cost breakdown, and that's been reviewed thoroughly. And this is a really great contractor. He knows your system very well, and the pricing that he's given us, especially in these times, is very good.
Okay, so can he go in and find some other things? I know with general plumbing, you can go in and you never know what you're getting into until you get in there. So will you come back and tell us that, you know, there could be another possible change order because there was something, you know, unseen?
Yes, good point. I mean, that's how we are here now, is finding something that wasn't working. And so the answer is probably not, meaning we probably, where we are now, it's isolated, we've seen it, we've diagnosed the problem. When I say we, I mean Water Pollution Control Department, Gateway, the contractor. We feel confident that this is the best fix. It doesn't appear, you know, we're going to be isolating our work into an area that we think we know pretty well now. So we're not going to be chasing piping and having, you know, vibrations that crack and break and then move something else. So it's unlikely that there will be an additional change order as a result of this work.
Okay, thank you.
So I always tell my husband, if he's the head of the household, I'm the neck. And I'm not as impressive as Betty Arndt, but when I look at this budget, you know, I compare it to my household budget, and I'm the chief operating officer of my household. So I guess in layman's terms, this is a really good deal, right?
It is an excellent price from an excellent contractor. We really can't bid this and wait to see who would bid it. It would take 6 or 8 months, and that system is down right now. So if the pump would need to come on and it couldn't because the valve is closed, it's in a closed position, it wouldn't work and the pump station would flood.
And now is the time to do it. We've got the funds, we've got the stimulus money, we've got the funds, and although it may not be very exciting, it is a public health issue. Our sewer system this is something it's essential. Now's the time, and now we have the funds, and so this is actually, we may not think of it in this way, but this is pretty exciting to get the things done that we're completing.
Yes, thanks. Makes sense.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
Councilor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Brodnicki,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sapp.
Yes.
Item 8F approved.
May I get a motion for item 9A?
Mayor Calabrese?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve ordinance 2699 of 2022, adopting an amendment to the Articles of Incorporation of the Wilkinsburg/Penn Joint Water Authority.
Thank you. May I get a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Any comment from the public? Any comment from council? Roll call, please.
Mayor Calabrese,
Yes.
Councilor Fascio,
Yes.
Councilman Brodnicki,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sapp.
Yes.
Item 9A approved.
Thank you. Councilwoman Sapp, do you have any comments?
Yes, Mayor, I do. I just would like to ask that we get in contact with Republic, as we had talked about before, and maybe think about doing a quarterly glass collection event and having them come in and actually do a presentation and to explain to us exactly, you know, what they are taking and what they're not taking, but to actually really do a quarterly event with glass. So-
Just to respond quickly, I don't want to take up your time, but that is something we're going to incorporate in our next set of bid specs because our contract is up at the end of the year with them.
Great.
So I think we're talking about glass recycling events
I love it.
in the new program.
Great, thank you. And then finally, same thing with Republic, just like to urge the residents to call into Republic and give them your email so that you can get into their announcement system. You know, sometimes, you know, holidays, they push the trash back, and if any other event would come up, emergency event, and your trash is not going to be collected, you would get a robocall to let you know when your trash would be picked up. So if you contact Republic, give them your phone number, they will put you into a robocall system where you will get information from them directly. That way you don't have to worry about calling to the municipal building, trying to find out the information. You'll get it straight from Republic. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Fascio.
No comments.
Councilman Brodnicki.
Nothing right now.
Thank
Thank
you. I just want to say that, first of all, to piggyback off what Councilwoman Sapp said, we did have a meeting with Republic, and this will be published. They want to set it up so that we can have, it'll be like a phone call or however they're going to set it up, but we're trying to gather as much information so that there's direct contact with the public so that you don't have to why is trash going to be picked up tomorrow? It's a holiday, what schedule? Or is there a problem on my street? What's going on? So we're trying to have Republic, once your information is in their system, then you should automatically get that information at your home. We just want to report that Summerfest, it started out like we thought maybe we actually talked about canceling it because it looked like it was going to be a rainy day. It ended up being probably the best attended Summerfest we've ever had. It was fabulous. I'm so glad that Parks and between Scott Shepard and John Scaglione and the manager, and and they called it like 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I don't know, maybe we should
cancel it. But the proper call was made, it went on, and it was fabulous, and so keep that in mind for next year, because we have a lot of good things in the works for that. On behalf of everyone on council, I thank you for appearing tonight, and have a very good evening, and we hope to see you next meeting. This meeting's adjourned.